Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour for I don't know what day it is. June something.
8th.
June 8th. There you go. I am Dave Slusher. I am joined by Andrew Barnes and Chuck Tomasi, and we're here for Live Coding Happy Hour. The month of May was kind of wiped out by Knowledge 18 and the aftermath, so we're going to get back to it. I will freely admit that this is that I have been more prepared for these things because it is a rough time right now. So trying to get everything done, but I did not want to let there be another week go by without this. So what we're going to do is we're going to return to the Markdown editor of previous eras, and I'll give a little more background on that. But first, my friends, introduce yourselves. We'll start with Andrew.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew Barnes. I'm a ServiceNow architect at a client, Novant Health. I've been on the platform for about 3.5 years now, and it's my favorite thing to do. And working on building some cool things. I hope to have the updates at Tracker coming up soon for everybody in the public, and just happy to be here.
All right, and Chuck.
Hi, I'm Chuck Tomasi, Senior TPMM at ServiceNow. Yesterday was my 8th anniversary at ServiceNow. I was a customer for a couple of years before that. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we've come in 8 years and even over the last 10. It's crazy.
Nice.
And I'm Dave Slusher. I'm trying to get my shirt on camera, which
I can only grow the best developers in the industry. Hey, I like that shirt. Where'd that come from?
That's nice.
Hey, that came from San Diego by FedEx earlier today. Thank you, Jack.
Right.
So I'm Dave Slusher. I'm a developer advocate with the ServiceNow Developer Program. And that's all there is to say. Before we go further than that, let's talk about our beers. Again, in the same order, Andrew.
All right. Last minute decision here. I'm going to go with Lucifer, which is a Belgian ale. And I haven't had this, and it's been sitting around, so I'm going to drink it.
All right, Chuck, how about you?
I have from the Left Hand Brewing Company, Hardwired Nitro Coffee Porter. I thought it was a chocolate. So it's going to be a high octane afternoon.
And for me, I've got Shoreview Lemon Shandy, which, like most of my beers, I have not been to a proper beer store in an extremely long time. So this is kind of what caught the corner of my eye as I was walking through Aldi's. So there you go.
Shandy it up.
I am
This is summertime. At least you're in season. I am way off season.
Yeah, you're way off season there.
The shandy feels like the right thing for today. So to give a little background, it's kind of heating up. This was a extremely last minute topic that I kind of slid in here. In the tool chain of documents that we create in and around the things that touch me, we use Markdown pretty commonly. So if you see that the training courses on the developer portal, those are actually authored in Markdown now. Every lab guide that you saw at Knowledge 18 and CreatorCon this year, those were authored in Markdown. And they were authored mostly, but not 100%, like using Microsoft VS Code, committed to GitHub, and then a big process. Now, really and truly, it would be nice if that tool chain was simpler. And by simpler, we mean
inside
everything in an instance. Every bit of that in an instance. So I kind of started thinking through like all the value propositions of that. I was like, all right, what moving pieces could we eliminate from this complicated? I mean, although it worked, it was functional, and we put on Knowledge 18 with it. It's a high functioning Rube Goldberg machine of pieces.
Yeah.
You know, you would edit Markdown in whatever editor, VS Code or whatever editor, you would commit. GitHub would call a webhook on an instance, which would then import it from GitHub and then chug it into basically a KB article. and then it would ultimately end up on an instance.
You multiply the factor of having multiple people with the same repo. You've got a copy, I've got a copy. We're trying to work on the same lab guide together, and things can get a little out of whack pretty quickly. So having a single source of record might help with that as well.
Well, I mean, so the Git aspect of that does handle some of that, but then what it has is all the complications of Git, which is merge conflicts, and so you do have a single source, And you could, for example, as I did with one of my sessions with collaborators, actually both of my sessions, everyone edited on branches and then we pull requested back. But even that was more complicated than it really needed to be.
Right.
So I was like, all right, what if the end goal here was, in fact, a markdown record type that existed in an instance? One of the things we did before was try to get a markdown editor. So the ultimate goal here, and it absolutely will not get finished today, but my goal is to get like a markdown document type that has both. So inside is containing text string that is a markdown document and is versioned such that ultimately the markdown can be rendered, and then that version history, any two versions can be picked and diffed. And if we have those, we basically have the feature set that gets rid of everybody else in the middle. So that's the ultimate end game. Achieve that, get rid of everybody else. Okay. Background complete. So now what I'm going to do is try to get my screen share turned on. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Yeah, just looking over the chat.
Yeah,
a lot of praise about. Go ahead, Andrew.
This was back in October. Was the first show on this? It was a while ago, and we've got a link in the in the video here to the previous one.
And by the way, the thing that was driving that was in fact this exact same use case that we're talking about right now. I mean, we knew that we were heading down this path, and that was us kind of talking about where we might end up with this. So in the pre-show here, I was kind of kicking around ideas. And are we up and sharing? And
looks like you are.
Yes, sir.
Oh, what I have not done is turn my camera off. So let me.
Yeah, a lot of praise in the chat about the electronic lab guides.
Yeah, and there was by and large it worked. I mean, I'll be honest, I was prepared for pushback, and it actually never did happen. Right? I figured someone would say, "Where's my printout?" And I literally heard no criticism of it. Everybody seemed to be fine with it. I was pleasantly surprised by that.
And the CreatorCon labs being available afterwards easily was pretty great too.
Yeah, I mean, although the navigation is not on the developer portal anymore, spoiler alert, if you had any of those permalinks in your browser history, they're all still up and live. Knowledge or CreatorCon. Now, a lot of those things...
Is that going to be, I mean, I get a question almost on a daily basis. Is that content going to be available to the general public, or at least to the knowledge public at some point?
Well, so particularly for the knowledge labs, almost all of those required something in the instance. So a lot of those are not necessarily workable on, easily workable on any general instance.
Right.
One of the things I did is if you go through the CreatorCon labs, I went back through over the last week, and I looked at the cloud labs and I looked at the ICE packages, and anything that can be run on a vanilla out of the box PDI has been annotated. So if you look in the metadata, it will say this is runnable on a PDI.
Are those accessible from the developer portal yet?
They're accessible. They're not in the nav, and they won't be in the nav.
Okay.
But if you've got your link to the header, like to that catalog page. So I'm not publicizing the link, and I will not give it out. But if you went to Knowledge, you have it.
Right.
If you went to any Knowledge lab, you have it.
And they're formulaic, so you can find the other ones if you have them.
And I'm not telling you not to spread them, but I'm not going to do it. So So what I want to do, so to get myself to the Markdown, Andrew suggested that I look at the knowledge versioning. It has a very simple scheme. My first gut feel was to say, hey, is this extensible? Which the table itself is not extensible. Neither knowledge version nor knowledge itself are extensible. And I was so unfamiliar with this that I didn't even realize this was in a plugin that had to be activated. So I went and I did the knowledge advanced installer, or knowledge management advanced installer, which was not previously activated on this instance. And so I'm kind of looking at the layout of this. And so this is, in fact, the knowledge version table. So what I'm really doing is trying to reverse engineer this to see what's like the simplest thing that I can do to get this going. what Andrew pointed out is this thing really just has a little tiny bit of metadata, modified on knowledge, a reference to the knowledge link, and then like whatever version this is, and that's kind of nameable here. If you look at the form, it doesn't even have, the form only has 3 fields on it, which is the modified by on, the modified, and the version. So I'm just going to start. I'm doing this in the same scoped app as previous attempts. What you have here is, you'll see like we have this thing before that was kind of crufty. We have this blog, we have some other stuff. I'm just going to layer it beside it and maybe delete some of this stuff later on down the line. So I'm going to create a thing called Markdown document. I think really and truly, to start with, I think the only thing I need to do is have text. I'm just going to call it text, a big string type, and max length. What's the default max length? 4096 or something like that?
Default is 40 characters.
Okay. Well, let's give it a million.
If you want something big, go to 4,000. After 4,000, it doesn't care.
Oh, okay. We'll call it.
But if you want to be explicit, go for it.
Yeah, I want to. Let's do explicit. 1,000. That just to clearly indicate, even if it doesn't really mean anything, just to clearly indicate that this is big.
Even if it overflows the max int, rolls over and becomes negative.
I don't think we're anywhere close to max int.
No.
But okay, so for now, I'm just going to leave Markdown document is just going to be this, nothing but that. And I'll just let it do that. And then let's do submit that. Markdown document version or Markdown
So I guess one question to ask is perhaps what do you think about storing our markup in the article and just utilizing the all of the things that are already there for versioning for articles?
So you're saying just basically wrap KB article.
Yeah.
Or
so use the KB article as our repository
and just extend it.
And
well, you
not
can't
extend it, but yes.
So you're talking basically what you're talking about is like the decorator pattern. Such that so instead of this being text, this would be KB. This would be knowledge article. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what I'm saying is yes. I want to store the things I want to store in the knowledge article.
And if I do that, will it automatically? If we do it that way, we are making a dependency on knowledge management advanced, right?
Yes.
I don't know. That might be
but is that a harm to what we want to do? Your goal is a goal that seems to be able to handle that. It's not for everyone's consumption. It's for,
Well, it kind of is for everyone's consumption. Because we have a very specific use case that I want to achieve right now. But like pretty much every one of these projects, like by definition, if my team is doing one of these things, we're almost always trying to keep an eye towards, is this a generic thing we can push out there?
What's the concern, Dave? Is it just that you need a plugin? Because I don't think there's licensing for that, is there?
There's not.
It's a non-trivial that definitely ups the cost of anyone incorporating this.
Okay.
Is to say the next thing you got to do is turn on the knowledge, because let's say they were going to do a small project for this, right? They were just going to do a side thing. And it's a customer that wants to do this. And now that requires that the customer instance needs to have knowledge management advanced. And let's say they use knowledge already. For some reason, they're using it without it. That may be a big decision.
Yeah. From a change management standpoint. Yeah, I get that.
So I think in that aspect, it might actually just be that you don't get versioning if you don't have versioning.
All
you
right,
could
so
still treat them as Markdown KBAs.
Yeah. They're still Markdown knowledge articles. They just don't get versioning because you don't do versioning.
well, here's the thing: is the versioning going to be so hard that I can't just redo the versioning without that?
Oh no, I like to pilfer and plunder existing things, and we have a nice body field that already stores text for me and versioning that goes along with it.
All right, I honestly did not expect to have a hard decision at minute 15 of this. Tell you what, let's do. Let us, without making any permanent irrevocable decision, let's pursue this as if we wanted to do it standalone, with that being on the table.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the nature of this is, what we do in this hour is kind of the prototype, and we may are always susceptible of throwing it away and starting over. Which frequently happens here. So I want to see. So let's pursue it. If it turns out to be, and there could very, very easily be like things I haven't thought through, and issues that just seem like a drag. That I may say, you know what? I think Andy was right, and I should have pursued that path. Let's try it this way and see how far we can get in an hour. All right, so we'll do this. I might do a little bit of reverse engineering. So we're going to have the document is just the text. The new table, let's call it Markdown document version. Now it's going to be impossible to go forward without being in my head about.
Before you go any further.
Yes.
I have one nit to pick, and that is the table name. Mm-hmm. When you call your application something like Markdown, and then the table is Markdown document version, we end up with table names like Markdown document version. Does that drive you nuts, or only me when I start scripting? I mean, you already did it in the Markdown version table.
Yeah, but I have no investment in this, so I can easily delete this. I can do that.
I like to keep my table names tidy.
Well, I want the label to be Markdown document because I want it to be obvious what it is.
And, that's cool. And then if
write the name before I we'll delete this. We'll start over.
I noticed that when the application developer course was going on, they're building the loaner request app, and the app is called loaner request, only it truncates that, and then the table is called loaner request. So you wind up with X_SNC loaner request. That is a terrible name.
That's sad.
Right, so let's do it this way.
Like the table should be XSNC loaner request. Done. It's self-descriptive.
Get rid of this. All right. Now you're happy with that.
I'm happy with that. Perfect.
All right. And let's go back to this. I'm going to go back to my 10 million again, even though it's irrelevant because I just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And so we'll submit that.
Go! Where is it already used?
I have this thing.
Oh,
you know what? Delete this. All right. We're going to delete this guy too.
Goodbye.
Thank goodness for safety checks.
Remember that earlier cruft I talked about? It starts even earlier than we thought. What was going to happen? Let's see. Take this a second, and then I should just be able to resubmit, and it should succeed this next time.
Should be able to, yeah. I have seen once in a while where it just holds on to a name and won't let it go, even after you delete it.
There is a bug in the platform. If you've got, if you extend a table from task, you delete it and then try to recreate that same table. You get that weird thing where it says you can't change task because it's in global.
Yep.
I don't know if that is fixed as of Kingston or if it's fixed as of London. I don't know, but that's definitely lived for multiple versions, for multiple family releases. All right, so we got
that one's had some lifespan to it.
And I'll tell you, the very first time I ran across it was like, I want to say like the Geneva or Helsinki, like release webinar, like one of those 1,000-person webinars, like we had earlier this week. And I had never seen, and of course, when do you frequently create and delete and recreate tables when you're getting ready to do a demo. And I was like, huh. In the middle of the demo, that happened. I said, huh, that's interesting. All right. So now,
John says we're not drinking enough, and I think he's wrong.
Oh, man. This porter is hitting me hard.
Well, this lemon shandy is hitting me hard, and it has no right to. All right. SNC, Markdown document version.
Nice.
All right. Chuck is happy. I do not want to create a new module, although I don't care that much. So what we want to do here is kind of model here. So let's just have Markdown document, which is a reference.
Wait.
And here, this is one of those things where...
Is this the version one or the actual?
This is the version.
Okay.
It's to the left just because I recreated the one.
Got it.
So Markdown version. I don't know if I'm... Mr. Best Practice, you tell me. Capitalize or not capitalize the second word in the label?
Not capitalize is the standard.
The standard, okay.
And do you want it version or Markdown version? The other thing that creeps in is, am I using the same word every time? It's the old Steve Jobs, why do we have a clover on every... It's
definitely version, right? I mean, it's version. You already know it's a Markdown.
Markdown document. But that is literally the thing that I'm referencing here, right? So for the column, this is a reference Markdown. I said version, I was typing it wrong. I got myself confused between Markdown document, reference. Markdown document. All right.
Remember, kids, you can always relabel your stuff, tables or columns, but you can't rename them.
And let's see. So we got document, modified by, modified on. I'm going to do those by analogy.
Modified by, modified on. Modified by is reference to user.
I figured it almost had to be. It would have been just crazy shocking if it was not, but I wanted to double check.
Yep.
It was not
modified
doing something
on
extreme.
Is date time.
And I'm doing this completely by analogy. I don't 100% know what's the difference between modified on and like last updated or created by or.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. What's the difference between that and
so
updated?
the versioning has rules that updates the modified on and by that are separate from the version record itself. Okay. That's why.
Dave, did you set a
display
value on that document title that you referenced? Or are we going to get sysid hell?
Well, no, so there's still a lot that's not in here yet. So version.
sysid updated by is.
Okay. Version. That's just a string. We'll do it the same way.
Version is string, and then
the Markdown. I have literally one field in here which is text. I actually don't have a title, which you should have have a title.
Yeah, I was going to say title, description, name, something that you can use as a display value. Number, I don't care.
Let's give it a title.
Do you want to do numbering on these documents?
For the document itself, I want to have a title.
Okay. Then just set display to true. You can leave everything else alone.
And this one, I do want it to be
100, 255.
Yeah, say 255. True.
There you go.
All right, so that is that, and then our version over here will be the display value, the version name, which is that what they? Yeah, that's actually how they did it. Okay. Okay. So now we've got. It has this snapshot. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to worry about too much of this yet. All right, and so then Andrew, did you say is it business rules? Is that the thing I want to go look at here?
So the main thing that it does is around checking out and publishing, and those are UI actions that call a script include.
Okay, let's look at see if I can figure out.
So the KB versioning script include is the magic behind all of the wonder in this plugin.
All right, let's start with that then. I don't actually have to look at the things that call it.
You know what to do when it does that? If the search doesn't search right, if it doesn't
double
filter?
click that left icon. Double click the left icon in the not the favorites one, but the one to the left of it. Double click that. Now type.
Oh, I usually just do the X and retype. Yeah, it does the same effect. It just gets rid of whatever's in there. And
no, it actually does a full reload of the menu, which is a bug that it has that I run into all the time. So it's different than the X.
Oh, I picked up the X tip from watching a video by Goron. He was going through a demo. He didn't even say anything. He just searched, didn't work, clicked X and searched again. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, that needs to be squashed.
KB versioning.
You want the SNC one?
Okay.
And you want to jump right to _perform checkout, I think is, wow, I'm stretching my KB, but and then find the function call versus the calls to the function.
I need to
make that bigger. Why don't you use the
blowout?
Yeah, the blowout icon in the middle.
I don't know what the name is. That's what I call it.
The blowout icon in the middle.
Yeah, that one.
There. Full screen. That's it.
All right. So this is.
So that's the magic that makes the new. So it marks the old version, not the current one anymore, and then replicates the knowledge article, and then the UI action reloads it, the new one.
Nice.
All right. Tell you what I'm going to do.
And the amount of beef in this script include is why I was.
I am now understanding. I now understand. I'm understanding where you're coming from. So this will be where the experiment goes. Is if dealing with this is too much trouble, then I abandon this, and you win. All right. So here's what we're going to do here. Let's call it.
If you change the name in the name field, it will automatically update those three.
Okay. Let's call this
markup version.
Markdown versioning.
Yeah.
Markup, markdown, whatever.
Whoa. Versioning.
Oh, it didn't update the strings.
Well,
Interesting.
did that on submit? Let's try. Let's see what happens.
No, I don't believe
it's supposed to do it dynamically.
Right then. And I think that only works when you match it first.
I've modified others and come back later and changed them. I've seen it do it after.
Let's try this.
Yeah.
Put in the old string and then change it?
Yeah, put in the old string and then change the string.
SNC. Okay.
Is it going to? Do I need to submit it? Or are you saying I should?
No, you should just be able to change it.
I think I should do it now. Yeah.
I wonder if it was because we had a piece of it selected.
Yeah, apparently it doesn't.
Hey, there it goes.
Yeah, I had to tab out of it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it might have been because
it might have been an on change.
Yeah, and KB versioning SNC was still highlighted on line 1.
Okay. So the other thing we got to do here is we got a bunch of
knowledge helper. Oh, it's calling lots of other stuff.
That was quite the woosah I heard there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you, actually, before I do anything else, let me save my changes in both of these guys.
Yeah. Then you can put in some table names.
I'm going to put in some table names. This is where we're going to do. This is where we do the principle of naive. This is where we're going to do the naive thing first, which is I'm going to take a swing at the lazy man's pinata here.
Filled with spiders? What?
Oh.
All right. So what if I call the KB knowledge. Oh, is it going to be expecting like the full API of everything in knowledge?
Well, hallelujah for
no.
someone putting the table names at the top rather than hard
at
coding
the
them
top. I mean, I do appreciate all that. That is pretty great.
There's a best practice for you, people. If you want to follow a good script include example, there's one.
Now, here was what would be even better is if instead of doing this, it had actually used this.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I mean, you can only ask so much from a single human.
This could very well be this dot KB knowledge, right?
Well, it's not a this. Is it a this? Oh, okay. I usually put my this declarations inside initialize, but yeah, okay.
That's actually curious. Is what's the role of this if these guys are explicitly referenced everywhere down here? So it also
they're following a best practice and then not using it. I mean, who hasn't done that in their life?
Who hasn't done that?
Me this morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say who hasn't done that today.
Yeah. That means you haven't done any work yet. Then.
Oh, so Andrew, I think you win the argument already because I'm looking at this
all over the place.
Workflow state. Shoot, I think actually I'm already abandoning this, and I'm going to start over because I think this is just too much.
It's not a trivial script include either. Your scroll bar is 20% of the way down.
Talk about 1,000 lines.
Yeah. Now there is quite a bit of fluff in this script include as far as what we want to do, but they've solved the problem of we want to store this text body of an HTML text body that stores things for us and do versioning, and that's why I was
okay. You are okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna delete Markdown document version right now. This is actually a pretty small change here because all I'm gonna do is go back to my Markdown document.
Dave, have you given any thought to knowledge base articles being written in HTML or not rich text? There's an option to say I want to write a knowledge base article in two different formats.
Mm-hmm.
Could we extend that to Markdown?
Yeah, I feel like yes. I feel like yes.
Well, let's examine let's look at the table for 1 second.
That's such a confident answer. I feel like yes. Magic 8-Ball says probability likely.
Let's go look at the. I mean, so
knowledge management is so long.
The dude from Perl, was that Larry Wall?
Yeah,
right? He's the one who had the three virtues of the three virtues of programmers, right? Which was laziness, impatience, and hubris. Is that what they were? Something like that. And we're exercising two of those right here. So we've got.
Is there a format field or a type or something that we can steal? There.
How many can I show in this? Oh, I can't.
It's going to depend.
Type, format,
topic,
flagged, short description, summary. So there's text, which is translated HTML. Yeah, feel free to. I'm
going to jump into my dev instance and see what I can find real quick. Yeah. I haven't done knowledge management in so long. I know
are you thinking
wiki,
the difference of wiki between
HTML and wiki?
Yeah. So
okay, so those are two different fields.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, we could. My voice just cracked like
one of those. Well, we're gonna roll back a few years there.
I know. If we're a few, oh my god. I think what we would do is wiki. Like we're gonna steal the wiki and make that Markdown. Because of the two,
it's closer.
Yeah. Who the hell uses wiki?
well, not only that, but all that stuff that we want to do with so all that conversion step, right? That conversion step could be in a business rule, like an on-change business rule, which takes the Markdown, converts it to HTML, and puts it back in there every time, so that you have an in sync HTML with the Markdown.
That's a good idea. Nice.
So you can do your WYSIWYG editing, and when you save it, you have an in sync with that Markdown HTML version. Now, what the problem being? Well, let me not worry about that problem because there's a lot of cart and horse here. So let's we'll go back. So we'll get rid of text, we'll get rid of title, and everything just becomes a KB article. Oh, you know what? I may have prematurely hit that. We might want to leave title.
Just do a reload.
Yeah.
Welcome to live designing happy hour.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely this is one.
You're not wrong there today, Chuck.
Yeah,
we haven't done any coding yet.
This is definitely one where like getting it together has not happened yet. So
no, but it's these discussions that I love, the design discussions about, option A, option B, option C. Hey, what if we tried this? That's where the exploration comes in.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, bear in mind that this, like, we're essentially, what we're doing here is the design phase, right? This is the prototype that is the kind of, we could sit on a whiteboard and think about it a long time, but we're kind of doing it on a live version, basically.
And that's one of the things I love about this platform is you can move agilely through your design phase and go, well, what if we try this? No, it didn't work. Delete the table. Try again.
Yeah.
Who was it? Do you, one of you guys on the call know who is it that uses ServiceNow as a prototyping tool? I heard of this. It might be a university, maybe in one of their coursework. They use ServiceNow, like basically what we're doing here. They use that as a design tool for developing applications that aren't ultimately going to be in ServiceNow, but they use it as a design tool.
I don't think I've.
It's like a.
Let's do the easy stuff over here and then go do it the same thing the hard way. What's the point of that?
Yeah.
Well, I think
it feels a little wrong to me, but yeah, I mean, as an enterprise architect, I could totally see that though.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you're delivering it to somebody who's not a ServiceNow customer, but
sure,
basically using the ease of taking a few tries at it from ServiceNow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now what we've got is title and then KB article. So then the question being, and so we want to ultimately, if we pull this up, let me, these are using our blog types. Let me see, actually look at our LCHH Markdown editor from before. This is pulling that up. I actually meant to look at the thing itself, not load it, but we'll not load the page. Markdown editor. Let me open up the Service Portal widget. Look at where we were before. Service Portal widget. And for some reason, I'm going to have to do your thing.
Supposedly that's fixed in patch 7 of Kingston.
Okay. And let's look at
what's fixed in patch 7. The filter thingy?
The menu filter getting confused.
Who referenced patch 7?
The ServiceNow High Knowledge article about it.
Okay.
Problem record.
Nice. Didn't we just come out with patch 5 or 6 this last week?
6. Yeah.
Okay. So it's close. It's close, people. Weeks away, and your frustrations will all be gone. Well, one will be gone.
So this is actually, so what we have here, the widget we're already using actually is using XSNC Markdown document.
Not anymore, it's not.
Not anymore, it's not.
XSNC Markdown document. Now, wait a second. Didn't we just create?
No, we 86 that.
No, this is what it is now.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah.
Did
you
rewrite that?
It.
Yeah, but I didn't have this table before. Did I have the wrong name before?
How did this work?
I don't see that's
always
how that's possible.
Okay. So can we do minimally? So you would have a Markdown document. Otherwise, query.
I love looking at my old code going, how did this work?
Get text.
We have video evidence it was working, so it had to have worked.
And you notice that this is extremely not done, because how are we gonna I think what we're doing is we're just picking any. I think what we were doing, we hadn't even got to like having a picker or anything like that. So we just picked any random one and worked on it.
Yeah, that's what the second query would imply.
So I'm okay with doing that for right now. Document text. So we've got the KB article. Do we want to just get the wiki text?
Sure. Just put
here's
value wiki into document the title that thing.
So here's something that I don't know. Let me go back to my. This is such a bummer of doing stuff that's not in Studio. If we go back to the knowledge type and it's wiki, the wiki is not text. The wiki is a wiki type. Do you guys know anything about the wiki type? Data type?
Not a clue.
I don't know anything about it.
Yet another data type. We could look in sysglide object. Sysglide object and find out more.
Field class wiki
there you
text. Extend string. All right. Okay. Cool. So
smells like text.
Smells like text.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That solves that problem. All right. So now what we'll do is text is let's dot walk it.
But is that going to kind of monkey with the rendering?
No, because we are going to render it ourselves.
Okay. Oh, in Service Portal, sure.
Yeah.
You're just using it as a storage location. You're not going to look at it through the KB viewer.
So how about gr dot knowledge dot get value wiki?
Okay. You want to set the... Where are we setting it? Like, where are we storing it?
But back up here in the input. So update gr, get it the thing, you stringify, JSON stringify, input, add info message. That's really just to display it. Title is that. Set value, update gr dot knowledge wiki update. Is it that simple? Could it be possibly that simple?
I'm voting no, so that means Chuck has to vote yes.
Sometimes, it is. Sometimes it is.
All right, let's. I'm going to exclude. Usually, I'm the degenerate gambler who will take the other side of every bet, but
no matter how bad it seems.
Markdown.
Trump couldn't possibly win.
Markdown. So I'm going to create a single just to. Oh, did I not? I'm going to reload this whole page because I think I've never gotten that since
we didn't
the recreating them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to create. I'm going to create a lone document. We'll only have one in the system. Ideally, we're ultimately going to end up with a picker, right? But for right now, we'll say test doc. Create a new knowledge base.
Should have overwritten Eclipse.
Do I have to pick a knowledge base? Let's just call it Markdown.
You must pick something.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's crazy because that's not a reference field. There's no decorator.
It's there, but it's
it is a reference field. Knowledge base is a reference field.
Where's the magnifying glass? Oh, you can't do the magnifying glass because you're already inside a model. Yeah. Okay, so pick IT. There's always an IT demo database.
Okay. There you go.
Or you could maybe you could do ***.
And then anything there, and then submit should be enough.
You want to change your document type, your article type from HTML to quickie. Then you get a quickie field.
Oh, then we could see it terribly. Got it.
Well, it's still fun to see.
Well, here's a question.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing to explore is because we're actually going to be going underneath the hood.
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually need the KB. We're not using the KB editor. So it may not matter because this is probably going to control what you see in the thing.
You're just making a parking spot reference.
Let's do it for right now. That actually is a question we might return to if we get time.
Okay.
Does it
You
even
can
matter?
change those on the fly, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So then we've got this thing. And that's actually, we're looking at the KB version of the thing that I just created, right? So we created the Markdown document. This is a little bit ugly, but it's okay. All right. So now we've got our Markdown editor. Do we get anything? Test doc.
And should be empty, which is good.
It is empty. All right. LCHH test. I want this to work. All right.
I think you now are on the hopeful side, and I'm still on the negative.
See, this is leftover. So this is the leftover stuff from kind of where, and again, this is basically this has been in deep freeze for 8 months, right?
Yeah.
I've not touched this again, but we, in that previous episode, we did just enough stuff in here. Do I still have the?
That was using the third-party library too, right?
Third-party Markdown rendering library.
Yep.
And so this is actually fairly functional, right? So this is one way or another. We can, we may want to change this around, but we have a working thing that is WYSIWYG responding real time.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to submit it. Okay.
Oh, you got.
That's a debug. That's just a debug message.
I have that in my. That's in my Serp script. It's right over here. I do the add info message.
Okay.
Stringify JSON. That's what came in. So now, if we look at this,
what's in the article?
Did anything in the article get stored?
Now, if we look at the KD
article, yeah.
So if we look at the article, we have an article version.
Was that wiki text? Oh, we have a version. Yep.
Article version. Oh, that's not going to work because that's not on the form.
That was 2 minutes ago. Did we actually store something in the wiki text?
View article. We
don't
not
see anything.
We have an empty doc. We have a test doc. Authored by me, last modified. In fact, it didn't even save my thing, right? Because 2 minutes ago is longer than my.
Yeah, I don't think it stored it in there.
Okay, let's. Out of curiosity, let's do this one more time.
Okay.
Then I'm going to refresh this.
So my question in your script there is, where did you actually save?
The GR update.
Ah.
Oh, you know what I'm not doing?
What?
I'm updating the GR. I'm not update gr.knowledge.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'll get you.
So we need to do a glide record .walk.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure I've ever done this. If I do this update here, is that going to work?
No, you need to instantiate a new.
You have to exactly.
You have to instantiate a new glide record object on the knowledge.
So before that line, you want to.
I want to get the value.
You want to do a update gr or instantiate a new knowledge article object, and then do a get based off update gr.knowledge.
The table, I believe, is KB under knowledge.
Okay. And so then
there 15, you do. I would do like an if get.
Knowledge gr.
So you say check if.
Yeah. If
knowledge gr.get.
Update gr.get value.
Nope.
No.
No.
Oh, update gr.
Do a get on your knowledge gr object. Not update gr. Knowledge gr.
Knowledge.
No. If knowledge gr.get.
Knowledge. Good.
And then inside your get is update gr.
Update gr.knowledge. Yes.
All right.
Close. And then
it is a bit abstracted. I think we're missing a parenthesis there.
It is, yes.
Oop. All right. And that's To be expected. Let me get rid of that. All right. So then
if you're able to get that, then you can update the wiki field on that. So knowledgegr.wiki is going to be, what is it? Input.documents.
No. Set value.
Set value. Yeah. Wiki. With input.document.text. I think it is, or roughly.
I believe you are correct. And then do a knowledgegr.update.
All right. And
give
then
us a semicolon on 17.
It didn't bark about a semicolon on 17. We don't have the same debugger thing turned on. It would have done that in a business rule or a script include.
And really and truly, the only thing I'm doing over here is this is where accepting title inputs, and that's fine. All right. So now, just going to go ahead and hit the submit one more time.
You hit save?
Save.
Did you save?
Oh, I didn't save. Let me save.
Hey, look, Chuck, we're actually scripting things.
Is not allowed in scope XNC. Wait, the what?
Say what? We're doing it elsewhere.
I object, boss. I object.
What the what?
I resist your error message.
What?
What line was that coming from?
Are we even using?
There's a get value down here.
Down there.
Yeah.
But we were doing an input. We were doing an input over here. Okay, so let's
try it again. Just put some text in.
Yeah. What the heck?
What the chuck?
All right. And so let's look at so in this branch is doing. There is not even there's
no.
Is this the problem right here?
Shouldn't be, because knowledge already is a reference field.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's effectively the same as doing a dot walk to a sysID.
All right, so let's leave it like that, and let's just see what happens.
You would use get unique value on a glide record. That's a reference field.
Okay, let's click it, and
well, no error message. I'm good.
Oh, and now look.
Oh, we got read operation for cross.
That was a cross scope from the Markdown scope to KB.
It said it could read, but it didn't say anything about writing.
No, that means that it happened because if it well, wait a second.
All excited over that.
Now wait a second. Am I? We would expect to see this here, right?
I would expect to see it rendered as
knowledge.
Yeah, let's take a look at the article.
If it had actually saved it, it'd have modified it. So,
but the HTML is empty. HTML is empty.
Okay.
Right, but it didn't update the modified, which is bad.
Oh yeah, it didn't version it.
Well, I mean, we haven't even gotten into whether or not it would version it yet, but we didn't save the record yet.
Oh, why not? We did an update. We did knowledge.gr.update, right?
How did we not? Because
well, it didn't.
Maybe it didn't get into the if statement.
Well, hey. Yeah, we why are we debating this?
Debug. Yay.
Oh, widget editor.
What does he see?
Widget editor. We're going to have to do this. We cannot invoke the widget editor from. We cannot invoke
there.
Yeah,
debugger inside of there. Yeah.
We're going to have to open it in the instance over here.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, working Citrix all day.
Can you run the script debugger on widgets?
You can, but
you have to click the.
What you can't do. What you can't do is click.
There's no line numbers. Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
Here, you have to
click
set
your breakpoints there.
I'm gonna set it here. What you can't do, I don't believe
you can't do it there. No, which
there.
Is there are some subtle differences. Like that's why I didn't complain about the missing semicolon.
And then let's go over here.
Fire up the debugger. So we maybe separately we might schedule a debugger session because we've had a lot of demand for just showing off the debugger. It's not really live code happy hour, but we could definitely do a session about debugging.
That's our next Tech Now in July. On July 10th. Here, I should have the little desk bell go ding for an advertisement.
All right, so let's go ahead and go back to here. And let's hit save again. Now, wait a second.
Turn slowly away and hit the button again. It didn't.
I can't even, not allowed. I don't even.
What's with that when you're trying to save it saying that?
Okay, so let's say.
Which is probably why it didn't save it, because it didn't save the widget. Therefore, it didn't save the record with the new code.
But it saved
it looks like, but you'll notice it also
in.
It also wiped that out. So let's go ahead. Let's do this now.
Yeah.
Huh. So it's not breaking in here, and so it's not going through the if input. So we do have get values over here.
So what?
I mean, comment the whole section out. We don't even care about it at the moment.
Well, yeah, we're not getting the existing record.
No, we need this because this is what populates all this. If we don't have this,
the first go around.
Yeah, we need that. So here's what we do. We're gonna put the breakpoint up here.
Yeah, and then
it should hit every time, no matter which path.
So it's clearly saving because the actual it is actually saving, because we wouldn't be able to see what we had written in there if it hadn't saved.
Okay.
Get values not allowed in scope, and it didn't hit the debugger. All right, something.
We're in big trouble if get values not
available. Right? You have to hit submit, not save to.
I did submit.
Hit the debugger. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing to invoke that.
Oh.
I hit submit.
But it's not breaking.
And that time, and it didn't break. And it should have, no matter, it should be.
Is it possible that the previewer isn't in the same context as the debugger for this purpose?
You may say on a different instance, different session? No,
not really a different session, but sort of.
They're all, in fact, I invoked it from this window right here. So it's all, should all be the same thing. And in fact, you'll notice that it picked up my other breakpoint. So what in the heck is happening here? How is the debugger skipping over? How's the debugger missing this?
Can you open up the page just because I'm crazy?
Which page do you mean?
Actually, like, instead of doing the preview, actually load that widget in a actual page versus the previewer.
Do I have the try it button on here? Let's find the actual page. Service portal. I may not even have a page. Let's see. LCHH Markdown editor. Let's try it. I don't care which one. Let's pick just the default service portal. Okay. And you'll notice it's getting that on initial load.
And because that was not input. Yeah, so it's hitting the else and then getting angry. No, doesn't invoke it. Okay. No invoking debugger.
All right, so we are at the hour. Oh, this is a
not where you want to end.
We're gonna end in defeat. We're gonna not even not even the hint of hope. This is weird. Let's look at the chat. Let's see if somebody saw something we didn't. Anybody in the chat?
No, I've been keeping an eye on it. I don't see anybody screaming at us saying, "Hey, idiot, get value should be used like this."
There's something really fundamental that us plus however many people are watching are missing, and it was
working. Get value was working prior to us working on the. I don't know
what could possibly have changed. And this is, by the way, other than the implicit one here, this is the only use of it at all is these two.
Mm-hmm.
In the else, and why it would say.
Oh, wait a minute. Do me a favor and just comment out line 32. Can you dot walk to get value like that?
Maybe not. That could very well be the problem. Let's do that.
This might be where you want to do knowledge.wiki.toString. I don't know if you can. Knowledge is a reference object. I don't know that it has get value because you don't have the whole record on your hands, which means you don't have all the fields on your hands. ToString.
I'm more than willing.
I think that's what it was barking about.
I'm more than willing to entertain that.
I don't know if that solves world hunger and all our other problems, but
well, check this out. We got this, right? Yeah. That's also indicative that we did. So I think that you might have just seen it, Chuck. You may have saved the finale of the show.
My community service is paying off.
Chuck, I like it.
I had a yellow flag go off when you typed that.
All right. Now let's see what happens.
We have to swing the other way, though.
What did you just say?
All right.
Well, if you didn't save the day, then you destroyed it.
No, so clearly, so something didn't work right. But now let's just go back, and this is the very last thing we'll do here. Is let's go
see
back.
if we have any evidence that anything happened.
And if not, we'll just have to leave it here, and we'll end on the sad cliffhanger here. All knowledge articles, test doc.
Updated 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is not looking promising. So, but what we didn't get is that weird get value. So I think you are correct, Chuck, in that the my eyes were bigger than my programming stomach on that, in that I couldn't do the get value in this. And that's what that error was. And that's one of those non-obvious things, because this looks innocuous to me, right?
Yep.
Using the whatever get value in my head seemed like that would work, but really you would have to do a get, or somehow you're right that this is a reference field, not an instantiated glide record. So that's one of those things where the kind of the affordances and the syntactic sugar that it gives us sometimes leads us a little astray in our mental model about what's actually happening.
So did we try saving or submitting versus saving with something in the test doc area?
We did, but let me do it one more time. If I hit submit. All right. I even hit it again. Now let's go back and look. The same.
Modified on is still old.
Same thing.
Didn't actually modify it.
But the other thing to note is this whole time we still have never ever hit this breakpoint.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. I don't understand why we've never hit any of these breakpoints.
Have you used the debugger with widgets before?
I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure I have done it on server code before.
There's not a whole async thing going on here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Because it's not like this call is not async. This call is synchronous.
Yeah, the submit there should be synchronous.
All right. I'm gonna take my lumps and we're gonna end at this point. All right. Not the most thundering conclusion. I say I don't know. 80% of the time, like when we get to one of these things, like right before.
Lose you guys?
Yeah, and I'm here.
Oh, we lost Dave.
Dove out.
No, that was I hit the wrong button as I was trying to.
Oh, shoo!
I hit the hang up button as I was trying to turn my screen share off.
Here, we could play this audio clip for this one.
On this auspicious occasion, let the horn of eternity cut a thunderous blast.
Oh boy. I'm amazed it called back as quick as it did. I figured it was gonna be one of these things where you guys closed the show without me, because I went to click the thing and I just misclicked and hit the red hang up button. So okay, so some parts of that. So we actually started down a path. This is kind of that to go to that prototyping discussion we were talking about. We started on a path, abandoned it, did the other thing, and actually got it wiggling in the hour, right? So we started over at the halfway part, and we actually got to this point, got this far. So something weird is happening. I really expect that breakpoint should be hit. I don't understand why the save is not working, but I think, like in general, the principle should be sound. And I'm going to play with this a little bit. It will not be around next weekend. I'll be off next Friday. I'm conceivably an old friend may be running the show next week. I'm promising nothing.
An old friend.
An old friend from a time from before.
So you may have, I don't know, like a flow designery show next week. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Good, because I got some flow designer questions.
The next week might be a very flow designery session, and then maybe we'll look at this in 2 weeks. And so, like to the extent that I have time between now and then, I'm definitely gonna try to get this ball down the field, because this is like I say, this is a use case that's important to me, right? If we can get the proof of concept that says, look, WYSIWYG editor, here's the thing.
Yep.
And I was looking at JavaScript diff libraries, like an hour ago or an hour and a half ago. See, okay, given two text strings, what can, what's the easiest way to just show a diff? Like a GitHub style diff, either a side by side.
We have something like that. I mean, if you modify a business rule and then we try to patch a business rule, we've got the side by side comparison. We should have a library or some class we can tap into for that.
Right. If that's exposable to me at this end, I'll see if I can use that. It may be, I'll have to do a little digging to see if that's an end platform user accessible thing, or if that's like invoked.
I know a guy who knows a guy who should know the answer.
These are solvable questions. I just don't know the answer to that. So, if these are exposable to our scripting, then we'll do that. If not, we can always back up to JavaScript libraries. And since the ultimate interface to this thing is going to be Service Portal, we have access to whatever we want.
True.
Right.
So, and that might even be an argument for it, depending on what's available to us. It might actually be easier to use the third-party library than our library if we're doing it in Service Portal.
Yeah.
But these are all possibilities, and maybe we don't do that. I also don't want to necessarily jump back and forth Service Portal to platform. Yeah,
definitely.
I don't want to say go back to the platform to do the diff and come back here. So ideally, we'd have like one nice integrated view. This like your Markdown, and then even like, okay, here's the difference between these two, and possibly even like rendering that. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. What might be interesting would be to diff the rendered Markdown. I don't know that that's even technically possible.
Might be a library that does it. You can check.
So the worst case, we could just render the raw, render the diff of the raw strings. But like actually showing the Markdown itself rendered would be, as differences would be kind of cool. Yeah. So anyway, this is like my ultimate goal is to just say, okay, all you people who are talking about the tool chain, why don't we build this? And then why don't we do everything that we want to do next year on an instance, which is, I'm going to tell you, 97% of the time, my argument in everything is, why aren't we doing this on an instance of ServiceNow?
I know.
Why not ServiceNow? I gave a talk about that at Knowledge.
Yes. Okay. Oh, by the way, this Google Doc you're sharing, maybe it should be.
Don't go there, Dave. Don't go there. You're gonna show some warts we don't want to show.
Well, anywhere, and I'm saying, you the customer, you anyone.
Yeah.
For if you got a simple spreadsheet of any kind, right? This is kind of what we've been saying is, if you have access to ServiceNow and you have access to building applications in ServiceNow, and you have expertise in doing that, and you routinely do work by emailing an Excel spreadsheet around or a Google Doc around, maybe you can get that out of your life.
Yep.
And that's the religion we preach. And so let's do that. Let's get some stuff out of our lives. Let's factor out the Rube Goldberg machine, even the high functioning one, down to not a Rube Goldberg machine, but one thing.
Yeah. So let's take the process seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. As I say, I won't be here next week. We'll see if there is a show. It will be our old friend, my short review, Lemon Shandy. It's going to get a rating. It doesn't, probably more rating than it deserves. I'm going to give it a 4.25, just because I'm in a shandy mood.
He is in a shandy mood. All right. So my Lucifer Belgian Ale That sucker turned out better than I expected, which means it gets a 4.
Now, it had flames on there. Is that like a jalapeno beer? What was with the Lucifer and the flames and whatnot? Or is that just a branding thing?
It's just branding.
Okay. So it wasn't a spicy beer.
No.
Not the habanero sculpin, which is I call the designated driver beer, because I could not, if I had to, I could not drink them fast enough. I couldn't pour them over my tongue fast enough to get drunk.
Really?
So I find them so spicy, I can't drink them that fast.
Okay. The hardwired nitro coffee porter. Maybe I'm just not in a coffee porter mood today. It just didn't hit me the right way. It might be out of season, whatever it was. I mean, the flavor was nice and rich, bold porter flavor. 3.5.
3. Oh yeah, 3.5. Ouch.
Yeah, not on the high end.
You know, Untapped is kind of like Uber, right? Where a 3 feels like a
0.
Yeah, it's like a punch.
Like how many times realistically? Part of it is self-selection, right? You're not drinking the 2 beers and the 1 beer.
I'm not picking a 2 or no 1.
I'm not getting Schaefer Light.
Yeah, it's like your report card in school. If you got a C, you were pretty much not doing it.
all the children are above average, basically. So, okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy your weekends, and we will see you again when we see you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Dave. Bye.
And now I've got so many windows, I can't even find the YouTube button. All right.
The broadcast ends now.
Yeah. All right.